Now batting for the New York Yankees, the shortstop, number 2.
Welcome back. This is episode 99 of the NYYST podcast presented to you by NYYSportsTalk.com. I'm your host, Christian. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
You.
And Stat Guy Ryan.
What up?
No yo-yo this week?
No.
I thought you were going to sing it for me.
Sing what? What up?
Yeah.
What up?
This is a spring training preview episode.
99.
Number 99.
Number 99.
We're finally here at the precipice of actual baseball. We're recording Saturday afternoon. The Yankees will officially open camp Wednesday when pitchers and catchers report. It's such a ceremonial thing, too, because nothing actually really happens that first day.
I was thinking that, too. It is very what was that word? Ceremonial. That was a good one. But, like, so many players just report whenever they want now.
It's also a word you learn in, like, third grade.
Yeah. I didn't pay attention in third grade.
Or fourth grade.
Or fifth grade. But, like, so many players report now.
Wait. Speaking of things in the parallel of 5, don't you want to tell the fans to leave us a 5-star review on
Please, iTunes? I am saying this from the bottom of my heart. Anyone who can stop and take 2 seconds, who has been a fan of the show, who's listening for the first time and within the first 30 seconds of the show, loved everything they heard, please stop and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, when pitchers and catchers, that ceremonial report date, nothing's really happening. There's guys already down there working out. You know, first workouts probably don't start till, what, Thursday or Friday? I think.
If the Yankees report on the 13th, they usually don't start anything until the 14th.
Which would be Thursday.
Right.
So, but it's just now, it's here. It's officially begun. Baseball is back. You can start focusing on what this team is, who's here, you know, how this team is going to try to overcome the Boston Red Sox. It's just a date that we all look forward to. It's not that we're not expecting major things to happen on Wednesday. It's just like now it's like spring training has begun.
It's getting here now.
I see it in different tiers, right? The first best day of the year, pitchers and catchers reporting, right? It's just, you know, it's there. Next best day, when all the players report.
It's actually February. The next best day for me is February 25th.
Why?
That's
first
the first
day
Yes
of spring
Network televised.
Well, that was going to be my next tier, right?
But once guys start trickling in, I don't really like. After that, like, I don't care when full squad workouts begin. It's just like their camp has started. Now let me watch them play, and then now we're going to watch games that count.
Right, and then of course you got the early opening day this year as well.
March 28th.
That's the earliest ever, right?
I think last year was, what, the 29th? Supposed to be? Oh, no, it was because it was in Toronto.
Technically, haven't they have earlier opening day? They've had when they started
international,
in Japan.
Yeah.
And then they went back and played like another 2 weeks of spring training.
That was
game.
when the
was
Dodgers.
so
that
stupid.
was in 2012 or 2013. The Dodgers opened up, and then there was like 2 weeks in between before actual opening day.
Yankees did that too when
that was against the Rays in Japan, but there wasn't that much of a break.
But there was still that they went back and played spring training games. It's
Really?
I believe.
I don't think
right?
so.
With the Yankees, there was like a week in between when
I don't know.
They might have had a scrimmage.
I was up and I woke up. My buddy came over at 5 a.m. We had school. I was in high school. And
you were high in school?
You were graduated from college already.
Probably not.
And watched the game. Then we had to leave for class, and the Yankees got killed. And we hated our lives for being up that early to watch them lose.
Scrimmage.
But yeah, why don't they start in a warmer climate? I don't get it. Oh. You know March 28th is going to be like the coldest day of the year.
A computer-generated schedule. They don't take that.
Well, how many teams are... I guess you could probably figure it out some way, but
There's so many different parts that go into creating the perfect schedule.
There's even so many teams that have domes now.
But what are you going to do? The Yankees just not going to play at home at all of March?
Well, yeah, I guess
April?
you got to get used to it anyway.
The Red Sox aren't going to play at home in all of April. The Mets, the Phillies. I mean, they're going to have to play these games.
And before we go into this any further, can we just remember last year when the Yankees went 9-9 in the first 18 games? Can we remember the outrage pouring from the Yankee universe? And just, if that happens again, can we just take a deep breath this year?
No.
Please.
Look at their schedule. They should open up fast this year.
Who is it? Orioles, who have... I don't think any team has been projected to lose so many games.
Orioles, then Detroit.
The White Sox are in there. They played the Orioles twice, I think.
So they should
the first 3 weeks of the season, they don't play. They played his really bad team, so they should open the season hot this year.
They should really take advantage of their schedule then to open up. But the Yankees they're notoriously slow. They're all notoriously slow starters.
They really can't afford to do that this year. All right, look at this first month of this schedule right here, right? Open up 3 against Baltimore, right? Should take 2 out of 3 easy.
Easy.
Just cut it off before they go on the West Coast right there. To Sunday, April 21st. We'll cut it off there. Keep track of this, what they should do here. Ryan, can you
I'll do it.
this?
I can do it. I want to do it in my head.
So we'll say opening homestand, Baltimore and Detroit, easy 4-2, right?
Okay.
Easily. That's what they should do.
4-2, easy. Then back to Baltimore.
Baltimore, they should take another 2 there.
Okay. 6-3.
All right. At Houston, you want to say they lose that series?
Fine.
Okay.
7-5.
All right. Then they go to the White Sox. That's
let's throw in a sweep.
You want to say?
I want to throw in a sweep.
We should throw in one.
If we're going to lose the series to Houston.
All right. At home against the White Sox, you want to throw in a sweep?
I want to throw in a sweep.
All right. Throw it in.
10-5.
10-5. Split with Boston.
11-6.
3 out of 4 against Kansas City.
You got me. 14. What were we? 11-6. 14-7.
So the first 21 games, this team should be 14-7.
They absolutely should be.
Minimum.
They absolutely should be.
They should get out of the gates hot this year.
And technically, over the first 30 games of the last 2 seasons, I know they started 9-9 last year, but they ended up with the same record, I believe, as they did the year prior, like 21-9.
That's a nice West Coast trip.
And look at this. Even you don't ever take anything for granted on the West Coast, but they got an early West Coast trip. They got 3 against the Angels, 3 against San Francisco, 2 against Arizona.
And then in case that goes bad, you got the Twins right after.
And then look at this. Then they come home for a 7 game homestand against Minnesota and Seattle.
This is arguably their first hard series.
No, well, they play Houston and Boston,
yeah.
but
never mind.
But yeah, look, you can get through April with only playing 5 games against playoff teams from last year. 5 games.
They got to take advantage of that.
They have to. You got to get off.
You want to talk about really, getting ahead of the Red Sox in some way. You got to take advantage of.
And then even look at this. You want to go into it.
Game.
You can even look into it as deeper. All right, Tampa Bay is going to be tough, but then they come home, Baltimore, Tampa, on the road for Baltimore again, Kansas City, San Diego, and then it's Memorial, and then the end of May is before you face Boston again.
Those are the only 2 games of May against Boston that were against that will be against teams from the playoffs last year.
Well, I gotta count Tampa Bay as a quote playoff.
But I'm saying that made the playoffs last year.
But I'm gonna put them in that count.
Am I
Tampa
wrong
Bay's
in
gonna be
saying
serious
this
year.
that the Yankees play the Red Sox fairly early this year compared to most years? I feel like the Yankees and Red Sox don't usually match up in April.
No, they do. That's when the Tyler Austin fight happened.
Really? God, I guess I just don't realize.
But if you look at that schedule, man, they got to get off fucking hot this year.
They do. But you know what? We're going to feel that way about a lot of teams. I mean, the Yankees, once again now, for the first time in a long time, are expected to win. They're expected to win a lot of games. They're better. They're going to be better than most teams. It just so happens to start their schedule, we're playing the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, but this is not even in a different year. If they went 10-10 in their first 20, no matter who they were playing, you'd be like, okay, whatever. They're just getting the kinks out. No
kinks. Get the kinks out in spring training as much as you can.
Honestly, they need to hit the ground running this year.
And I think that last year woke them up a little bit, where they're going to be more aware of that. They're going to hopefully get that rust off, do as best they can to get that rust off in spring training this year.
You know what I hate about the schedule this year?
Yeah. that they played Boston.
They finished with 3 games at Texas. Is the final 3 games.
Look at
of
that.
the season.
They don't play Boston after September 9th.
The division will be decided by that.
Yeah, that's not terrible, I guess.
No, it is.
They played like
you got
6 or 7 games against Boston.
You got Tampa Bay in there. Don't count Tampa Bay as
they're not winning the division.
No, they're not winning the division, but they're going to be an integral part of who wins the division, I think, because they're not going to be a pushover. They're going to be a decent team again, and we're playing them late. You're going to have to win those games. Those are going to be big games.
Yeah, but they're going to play a bunch of pushovers in September.
And Toronto's going to want to play spoilers.
They suck.
They're going to be miserable, but I'm just saying they're going to have that motivation.
That's great. Who's going to be on that team to really...
Vlad.
I don't think they're going to bring up Vlad Jr.
You don't think he'll be up in September?
They should.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, that's in the future. Let's talk about a little bit about some spring. Actually, you know what we should talk about first? These proposed rule changes.
I was just going to say that. We should bring it up because one of the things I thought about, and maybe you can explain it to me because I wasn't listening thoroughly, the change of the trade deadline. Did I get that right?
Oh, that's so dumb.
What is the reasoning behind it?
None of this stuff is going to happen this year. I mean,
the DH will soon.
Yeah, but it can't happen this year.
No, but it will happen the quickest out of any type of rule change.
You need to give National League clubs a full off season in order to build their ball clubs.
Yes.
And I said, and hopefully, Chris will put it on iTunes soon. My solo pod hitting hard. I said this last night when I was recording my show. I don't want to hear from any National League elitists about, oh, don't force the DH on me. Shut your mouth, okay? I don't want to see pitchers hitting. It is terrible. Okay?
If there's one rule change that I'm okay with, it is that. It's the one rule change that I would not argue. It makes no sense.
They're going to tell you it's because you're an American League fan.
It's not, though. It has nothing to do with that. First of all, we're talking about changing the rules to cater to the people who don't watch the sport, right? What's more boring? It used to be cool when we were younger, like, oh, cool, Cheng Wang's going to bat today.
That was cool.
It was awesome until he broke half of his lower body and could never pitch the same way again. Wasn't it cool, though, to be like, oh, cool, pitch. We're going to get to see
I never was ever excited by any of that.
Well, you probably don't remember that far back when you were as young as I'm talking, but
Interleague started in 97, you dick. You don't think I remember back to 1997?
I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. You were never excited as a kid.
David Cohn's going to swing a bat now.
You were never excited as a kid to see like a pitcher bat for the first time?
No, that never, ever was exciting.
But I would think that National League fans would want this more.
Don't change our game.
Imagine how much
strategy.
First of all,
strategy, Chris.
You want to talk about all the free agents lingering and everything. First of all, this is going to create more jobs for guys who are, average to a little above average players. They're going to get signed quicker. They're going to have more of a role.
Yeah, signed quicker. The 2 best players in the history of the game in the last 10 years can't even find jobs.
But you could also reverse that and say that good bench player type player will be out of a job.
Yeah, but someone made a great point. I forgot who said it, but they're like, yeah, okay, you're taking the strategy away from baseball if you
the double
put
switch.
the DH. But he's like, half the people watching the sport don't even know what a double switch is anyway, right? So no one appreciates it. We're talking about the fans who don't appreciate the game.
I appreciate the game as much as anybody, but I don't want to see pitchers hit.
Right, but that's more because of the liability and the fact that they're pointless.
Suck at hitting.
I think they suck.
Chris, they don't pick up a bat after they graduate high school. So you got them going through college, you got them going through the minor leagues. They might not pick up a bat for a decade, and then all of a sudden now they hit the major leagues and they're expected to swing a bat against Justin Verlander or Max Scherzer.
I'll take it a step further, okay?
How is that exciting to you?
In high school?
Explain that, but answer that. How's that exciting?
It's not.
Good hitting pitcher hits 170. That's good for the game?
No. But I'll take it a step further for you. In high school, I could never hit.
Oh, Bartolo Colon hit one home run in his life. We hang our hat on it, and that's why pitchers have to continue to hit.
That thought just popped in my head right as you said.
In high school, I was never a good hitter. I pretty much didn't even pick up a bat in high school. Then I got to college, and my coach literally pulled me into his office and told me if he saw me with a bat in my hand, I was immediately cut from the team.
In high school, a lot of pitchers also play other positions. That's why they still hit.
Right, but I was such a bad hitter. I was a great defensive first baseman.
You were a good hitter.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were.
Not against good pitching. I was such a good defensive first baseman that I would play first on varsity, but I would be the one DH'd for. So I didn't even pick up a bat in high school.
We had a guy like that my senior year too. He played first base, but he was the one that was DH for.
That could have been me. Oh no, you're way older.
Okay.
Don't you think that's the kind of rule though that the players union probably won't get behind?
No, I think
they are.
I think you're
behind.
wrong. I think they are behind that one.
It creates more jobs.
I think a lot. Yeah, I think
high paying jobs.
Yeah, but
too.
if I'm a pitcher, I would be so against changing that rule. A National League pitcher.
But you're also
Think of that advantage.
But think about the fact
Christian, don't roll your eyes at that.
First
Think of that advantage. You're,
but
you're
it's
facing
not-
8 major league hitters and then
you
a
have
guy
to
who
think
hasn't
of it
picked
the
up a
other
bat
way,
since
though.
high
Yeah,
school.
but you have to think of it as a larger picture here where they're all in a union together. They're all pro-labor, and this is going to create more high-paying jobs for people in their union.
And think of it.
And I didn't
That's fair.
I didn't mean to roll my eyes at you, buddy. I didn't.
I'm the one who has the eye roll
I
problem.
just get used to doing it from hearing so much
Right.
shit coming out of the side of that
Listen,
table.
think of it from the other way though. Even though pitchers
That's
don't
a fair
necessarily make batting a priority at all, they're still taking time when they're going to be pitching that day to swing the bat in the cage and all
Yeah,
that. They
you're
don't
right.
have to worry about any of that anymore.
But deep down, it's like, oh, now I got to face.
Yeah, but you know what? That's their friggin' job.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with
now,
that.
Now, at least they're going to be revered even more when DeGrom has a season like he
Think
did.
of that advantage.
Yeah,
2 outs, runners on second and third, the 8-hitter up. There's no reason not to walk
It's like
in.
playing Monopoly, and you get to get out of
the
jail
only
free.
thing I have against it
It's a gold card.
is that it was the one thing separating the leagues.
Yeah, but there's no reason anymore because you have equal amount of teams in both leagues, which means that you have to play interleague every day.
Right.
They don't
You're
even
right.
separate the league offices anymore.
That's very
They don't
true.
separate the umpires anymore. You used to have National League
Yep.
and American League umpires. You don't have that anymore.
Do you see a day where they get rid of leagues? They just have divisions,
No.
and it's the best teams make the playoffs,
No,
and
why
the
would you-
Yankees could play the Red Sox in the World Series one day.
No. Why do that? No other sport does that. They still have conferences.
Yeah,
Because I
could
just
see
always
maybe
saw the
I could see
separation
maybe
because of that big rule.
Divisions going away one day, but you would still have the American League and National League.
it's
I don't see
That's
it
how
happening.
it used to be.
but
It's unnecessary.
Anyway, let's get to the rest of them here.
These are all of the rules.
Yeah, some of them are so stupid.
Let's start with the 3-batter minimum.
I don't even want to talk about it.
That one.
It enrages me.
It really does.
So-
And that's another one that sounds like it's going to happen.
If that happens, dude, that changes the game way too much.
It's not going to happen.
That
at 3.
can't happen.
They might settle for 2.
Someone called in to talk about it, and they took the words right out of my mouth. What will ever stop a pitcher or a team from saying, "Oh, my arm hurts. Take me out"?
You would have to then go on the injured list.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, you
Why
would.
would you have to?
Because faking an injury is against the rules.
Okay, maybe you were sore and you went in and
Yeah, I mean,
put ice on your arm or
you
something.
might be able to get away with that.
And how many times do you think that's going to happen throughout the course of a 162-game schedule? It's not going to happen that much. Maybe in the postseason, and that's where the big problem is going to come. In the biggest games of the year, these guys are going to be pulling
That's
this.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Because in the mundane 9 to 5, April through September, this is not going to happen. Like you'll just deal with it. But if let's say Aaron Boone brings in Britain in Game 2 of the American League Division Series, and he only wants him to face whoever, and then he gets 2 outs, doesn't want him to face because a righty's coming up that has
can't happen.
great numbers against
It
them.
can't happen.
Here's why I don't like it, and this is an out there thing that probably won't even happen. But what if it's a guy who he throws 15 pitches to the first guy? It's a relief pitcher. 15 to the first guy, 15 to the second. Then he has to throw 15 to the third. That's 45 pitches, and that could hurt his arm.
What if he doesn't record an out and he throws 15 pitches, like you said, to the one guy? The next guy gets up and guy has another crazy at bat, like you're saying, and he doesn't record an out. He faces 3 guys. Now you're bringing another guy in with the bases loaded. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to me.
And if anything, that would slow up the game too, because you might get more mound visits because of it.
And you want to talk about gaining jobs by adding the DH to the National League? You're taking away jobs for guys. And I know the lefty specialist isn't as prominent as it used to be. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. But you're taking away jobs where you might have a guy in your bullpen just for certain situations,
especially
that you
in the
won't have
playoffs.
Anymore.
In the playoffs, you see guys.
Well, that was a great point by you.
Yeah.
I'd be, if they were going to do it and they said regular season, but postseason, that rule goes away, maybe I'd be more okay with it.
I don't think they're, like we said with the universal DH, how it would create more jobs. I don't think they have enough evidence now that role, that lefty specialist, still exists to the degree it did maybe 10 years ago.
Not even 10, but yeah.
So I think they don't worry about that too much. I just don't like it because it's done to speed up the game.
Right. I want a longer. I hate when Yankee games only go 2.5 hours.
Look, you can get,
I hate it.
honestly, and you can get through. How many times will we sitting there watching a game and it's the 6th inning and it's 8:30? They played 6 innings in an hour and a half, and then it takes an hour and a half to play the last 3 innings.
Yeah.
It's because of all the movement in the bullpens. But that's the most important time of the game. That's when these managers are employing all of their strategy, and you want to take that away from them to speed up the game for some jackass that's not even going to watch 20 games a year?
How many times have we been at the stadium, 7:00 game? You look up, they're in the 7th inning. It's like 8:30. We're like, wow, this is a quick game. What time do we get home? 12.
Here's the problem with all these rule changes. They already have our money, so they don't care about us.
Right.
They're doing all this shit for people who dime they don't have. So they're ruining our game to attract people that don't like it.
I tweeted that we live in a world where we don't care about the loyalists anymore. We care about catering to people who complain and who don't like this and don't like that.
Or people that aren't interested yet.
Guess what? Baseball can be an hour. If you don't appreciate what you're watching,
you can't play baseball in an hour.
You will not be a loyal fan of the game.
I do like the expansion of rosters to 26 now.
Let's get to that. I want you to explain this deadline and what they think is going to benefit.
It'll stop tanking
from a single trade deadline before the All-Star break. What do you mean it'll
stop tanking? It will stop. They believe if the trade deadline is earlier, it will have, at that point in the season, more teams will believe they're still in it and won't sell off their major players and will keep the competitive balance at a certain level
let me ask you
the rest of the season.
Let me ask you
by
this.
the way, I hate it. By the way,
that's another rule that
I hate.
Let me ask you this, because maybe this is the reason why you hate it so much. What is better than trade deadline day, waiting at the TV, refreshing your phone, waiting for the big deals to drop because a guy's traded that you would never think?
It will absolutely kill the trade deadline in Major League Baseball because it used to be June 15th. What team realistically, unless you're like the Orioles, what team realistically thinks with 2 wild cards that they're out of it at June 15th?
Right.
You want to take away the waiver deadline and make one solid.
That I'd be fine with.
That I'd be okay with. I have no problem with that, but don't move it from July 31st.
So trades like the Verlander trade.
Yes, if you got to get all your shit in by the end of July.
Fine.
I'd be fine with that.
Fine.
But don't put it before the All-Star break. You give these teams that much because you know what? It's going to kill the trade deadline.
Yeah,
you make
that's
it
entertaining.
What?
The trading for players,
and
getting a guy.
If you make it that early, it'll kill it.
Yeah.
Nothing pisses
teams
me off.
need that extra piece, to go
Nothing
on that run.
pisses me off worse than the next rule on this list.
Why? The pitch clock? I don't have a problem with.
I like that one.
Right.
Just won't be
I do.
enforced.
Because a pitcher doesn't just get a ball, get back on the mound, and that's it. Why would you want to rush what is going through his mind?
20 seconds is a long time.
Runner on first. Okay, but
there's no pitch clock.
Okay,
there's
but
no
the batter.
There's no pitch clock with a runner on base.
Because that would be like getting a head start if the runner sees it.
Yes, because at 19
you see 19 seconds,
you're taking
you off.
just take off. So there would be no pitch clock with a runner on base.
That's fine.
Only
I didn't know
20
base is
seconds
empty.
Okay.
There's more than enough time
Hit
to
the
get
rosin.
your sign.
I'm fine.
your
But
spikes,
if you're going to enforce
get on the
enforce it, then also enforce the other stupid rule where the batter can't step out of the box. Enforce it.
They both have to be ready to go within 20
100%.
seconds. That's part of the pitch clock.
But it's part of it now, right? That's part of a rule now that
there's
nothing is
no
enforced.
penalty against it. Now they would employ penalties.
Okay. So enforce it.
I believe what they said is if the pitcher goes past it, it's an automatic ball to the batter. And if the batter's not ready to go after 20 seconds, he gets an automatic strike on him.
I think that's kind of dumb.
But what are you going to do? How else are you going to employ it?
It's just not my game. That's just not the game I love.
I understand that, but I have
love
no
the
problem
game because there's no time.
Bro, there's some guys that take 35, 40 seconds in
I'm
between
with Christian
pitches.
on
That's
this.
way too long, bro.
I agree.
Look, honestly, we all love baseball, but there are times when the game drags. That's when the game
Yes.
drags.
I agree with
100%
you.
Christian.
I agree with that.
And there's no
But
reason.
in the rare cases that it does, I'm okay with that rule not being enforced. How many guys you can think of, maybe a handful, that take so long in between pitches? Now we're going to enforce this rule upon everyone just because of those handful
But think
of guys?
about how
I don't know. I think it's more than a handful.
How quickly does
that
Aaron
really
Judge
take
get
their
back
time.
into the box?
Very quickly.
Okay, so why does he have to wait another 15 seconds for the pitcher to stop picking his ass?
Because it's part of the game.
But get the sign and let's
Okay,
go.
do you want to know something?
Go-
Do you want to know something? There are certain times in a game where, as a pitcher, we would have certain signs that the catcher would get from the coach where he would put down a certain signal, and it was just for me to sit on the mound and keep shaking my head no. Keep shaking my head no until the batter called timeout. Why? It throws off his timing. It throws off his rhythm. That was part of the
So
strategy.
step off the rubber.
Is that? But now you can't. No, it was about winning that battle, that mental battle. And me shaking my head no, and him going, how many pitches does this guy have? I thought he only had 2. Shaking him off 4 or 5 different times? I better call timeout. I don't know what the hell's coming now.
It's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary to you, but to me...
No, I see your point, Chris. It makes sense.
But when there's nobody on base, it's unnecessary to take that long.
I'm okay with that then.
That is always the one part of watching a baseball game where I find myself complaining
Well,
when
just
a
like,
guy
throw the
takes his
fucking
time.
ball
Like,
already.
oh my God, throw it.
And we're talking about guys who lollygag. I hate those guys too.
Like Dellin Betances, the guy has every twitch imaginable.
Yeah.
Just get on the mound and throw the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, up, wipe 1, wipe 2, kick the spikes, put the hat back on.
But that's part of what
You're
makes
right.
him
You're right.
comfortable on the mound. What if he's speeding up now and he's a piece of shit
You're right.
reliever?
Then he
But-
can, but
what,
then,
to cater to someone who can't wait an extra 5 seconds?
But you know what? Then he can go back to doing it when somebody's on.
All right.
When
What's
somebody's
the next
on
one?
base. What do we got here?
Oh,
The
Ryan's rule.
I like the expansion of the roster to 26.
Love it.
I actually don't mind that at all. It's always nice to have an extra bench player with a guy
Right.
in the bullpen.
It would be for the bench because, oh no, you could add another
12
bullpen
pitcher.
guy.
But
12 pitcher.
actually, what I would do is I would do like they do in hockey and basketball and do healthy scratches every night. I would have my
I like
roster
that.
at 28, and then you have healthy scratches every night, but you're only allowed to scratch 2 of your starting pitchers because you would just scratch all your starting pitchers.
but here's the problem.
I could see teams abusing
Someone brought
that.
this up. It's a matter of the options and service time. So if you're going to hold that many guys, you're calling guys up at that point. Service time becomes a factor. Optioning guys becomes a factor. That's why they wouldn't go out to that many guys, I don't think.
Well, they're also, it doesn't say it on here, but it would, something that they are talking about is adjusting the service time.
No,
About
then,
how the way that's
then yeah,
calculated
that would
and
have to
everything.
counter that.
Or, there's 100 current guys that are free agents. There's 30 teams in Major League Baseball. Everybody signs 3 guys to fill out their roster to get to 28. Now you don't have that many free agents anymore.
This one boggles my
jobs.
mind a little. Draft advantages for winning teams.
They want to stop tanking.
Basketball's looking into
Okay,
something like
but
this as
what
well.
about the teams that aren't tanking? What about the teams that are rebuilding
suck.
that truly just suck? What about the Orioles? Let's take the Orioles,
Orioles are
right?
tanking.
What about the Giants? Take the San
But
Francisco
let's take
Giants.
let's take the Orioles right now. I want to take the Orioles because they just have nobody. Let's take the
It
Orioles.
would force them
They're
to do
rebuilding.
things like not trade Manny Machado.
But
and
we're
Zach
past
Britton.
that now, right? We're going to enforce. Let's say we enforce it this year or even next.
And we'll force them to go out there and sign guys that will make them competitive.
It takes a while to get from a team that they're going to be to a team that now they're just, now.
How many free agents did they sign this year?
I don't know. 0.
So now, if they tank and win 45 games, they don't get the first.
How many
pick in the
fans show
draft.
up to their stadium?
It doesn't. That's not
0.
Yeah, but that's not what they don't care about. That they want them to. They do care about that, but they want them to be better.
I just don't agree with good teams getting advantages. If you want to make it more of a random pool type fine. But don't penalize teams for being bad and then tell me they can't get a high draft pick to make themselves more competitive and better. That's not fair to the fans. That's not fair to the organization.
That wouldn't be fair to a team like the San Francisco Giants, who were a losing team last year, but they went into last season expecting to win, signing guys like Evan Longoria, Andrew McCutchen. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, but they also wouldn't get the first pick in a draft because they were still competitive.
All right, but they would still get a higher draft pick than winning team.
It just shouldn't be about advantage or penalty at that point. They just want to. If you want to stop tanking,
that's what they want to do.
Then don't give the team a reason to tank. But that doesn't mean you have to enforce an advantage for a good team and a penalty for a bad team. Just make it a random pool. Doesn't the NBA do that?
Not really.
Like a lottery type?
Yeah, but you get more lottery balls.
Well, then do it your own way and do it more of a random pick and just make it up in the air. That's it.
Why? So the Red Sox can wind up with the first pick in a draft after winning the World Series?
Maybe, but all I'm saying is your main goal is
to do it like a lottery.
Your main goal is to stop
teams.
tanking, right? You don't care. Who cares? The Red Sox are going to get an advantage, right? Anyway, because they're a winning team. So
why make them better? The point is to have.
Excuse me, but that's what the rule is. They're going to make them better. They're going to get a draft advantage.
I haven't really noticed tanking in baseball, at least compared to basketball, football.
They drop everybody.
The Red Sox would not be put into that. It would be they would order it based on teams that did not make the playoffs. So if you were like the Rays would get the number 1 pick in the draft.
Okay, and you know that for sure?
That's what they were talking about.
Oh, okay.
Like the Yankees, the Red Sox.
I'm thinking like the Red Sox and the Dodgers get the biggest advantage for the draft.
No, they want to shrink the gap.
All right.
That's interesting.
I still don't agree with it, but it makes more sense to me in that.
There's a rule not on the list here. They want to change mound visits from 6 to 3.
If that happens, just forget it.
Why even have mound visits at that point?
I hate the lower mound bullshit, and here's why. First of all, these guys are massive, right? I don't care if you lower the mound an inch. These guys are going to find ways to still have the same velocity, spin rate, whatever you want to say. With all the technology out there, the mound, they will adjust to the mound being adjusted.
Well, this is done to create more offense in the game.
Right. And guess what? I'm someone who loves a good pitching duel. I love it. So now you're taking a game, really the only sport I love and appreciate, and you are sacrificing the things I love, the things I watch 162 games for a fan who likes a bunch of offense and the balls hit every single play.
What's the most popular league in America?
Football.
And what did they do? They made every single rule change to benefit the offenses.
Right, and guess what?
And they have so much money that they could burn $10 billion and it wouldn't hurt any of their owners.
And guess what? I hate football even more after all these rule changes.
Yeah, and guess what? If baseball needs to be more popular, football doesn't.
I thought there was starting to be a little bit of a change going on, especially after the Cubbies won the World Series. I felt like baseball was on the uprise.
Kids aren't playing baseball. That's what the problem is.
Kids aren't playing football.
Yeah.
Kids aren't playing football either because it's a bunch of animals
sports are all down,
cracking into one another and causing severe damage to their body. So, honestly, you're sacrificing a sport that I love, that I watch every single day, for people to be more entertained who aren't even going to be that much more entertained.
So out of those rule changes, the only one that we're all pretty much in agreement on is the DH.
Yes.
Universal DH.
Yeah, I'm more than okay with that. I'd be happy to see that.
Although me and Ryan and I really don't have a problem with the pitch clock. You seem to be upset over it.
I don't mind.
I'm not as pissed as I was because of the fact of the no runner thing, which obviously makes sense if I took a second to think about it. But it still does bother me. I'm still not necessarily happy about it.
But if you had to pick the worst one, it has to be the 3-batter minimum,
absolutely.
right?
It's so, it's so
that
awful.
can't happen.
That sacrifices so much of the game.
That can't happen.
It really takes the manager out of it too. I mean, that's such
There's
an
no strategy
integral
for the
part
next 3 at-bats.
of being a good manager. I mean,
you literally have no move you can make.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
It's going to save as much time as them eliminating the intentional walk. That's what it's going to do.
Right.
And how much faster are baseball games played now that you just waggle 4 fingers when you want to intentionally
and you know
walk
what?
somebody?
To your credit, to agreeing with you a little bit with the 20-second pitch clock, that's something that is taking unnecessary stuff and making the pace of play better. But when you're sacrificing strategy, when you're sacrificing things like 3-pitch minimums before a manager can make another move, that's when I have a real big problem with a rule change.
And another negative with the 3-batter minimum, what if you face what if you have 2 at-bats to end an inning, and then your offense puts up 10 runs, is on the field for 30 minutes, and you have to come back out and pitch again?
What if there's a rain delay? Is that part of the rule? Is there?
It's not very well thought out at this point.
Which is why I think it'll fall apart. Yeah, I don't think.
I heard that they'll end up settling on 2 batters.
Even that,
which I still don't like, but I'll live with more than 3.
Absolutely,
as long as it's not active in the playoffs.
3, you're talking about a whole inning.
Yeah,
I mean,
somebody said that it was either John Heyman or one of those other writers was on The Fan this week, and they said that part of the proposal is that if a pitcher ends an inning, he's not required to come back out for the next inning.
Okay.
Which I'd be okay with, but
it is what it is.
All right. So as we said earlier in the show, we spent half an hour talking about these dumbass rules. This was supposed to be our big spring training preview episode. I ran a bunch of polls on NYY Sports Talk Twitter earlier this week to kind of gauge your guys' thoughts on some of these things. There's not a lot of stuff going on. Pretty much this team is set.
Right.
Really, I guess the only battles are going to be who fills out the back end of the bullpen,
first base,
and what's going to happen with left field.
Yeah.
So basically, we'll start with this here. The first poll we ran, and I guess what's going to happen in the middle of the infield.
Yeah. We know who it'll be, like as far as what the options are. We just don't know how it's going to...
Well, let's touch on this real quick before we get into this. I don't even want to talk about this guy anymore. I'm so sick and tired of it. But there was a report that came out that said the Yankees offered Machado 7 years and $220 million, and he apparently didn't like it.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either, because if the Yankees offered him $31 million a year and he wanted to be a Yankee as badly as he did, he would have taken the friggin' offer.
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that at all.
And... Again, it was Jim Duquette, former Major League General Manager, that said this on MLB Network Friday night. And then this morning, he was like, well, guys, I was just going off of something that I heard. Kind of threw cold water on the whole thing. But
pulled what we call a Dan Clark.
But again, Yankee Twitter sees that, and then they go all ballistic. And,
I still think Manny or Harper will be a Yankee.
I'll say this. I don't care anymore.
I don't. Really. Honestly, it got to a point the other day where I was listening to the radio and someone brought them up and I went, completely forgot about them. Completely forgot they existed.
We're 3.5 months into the off season.
I know, the off season just like...
I'm done caring. The Yankees open camp in a couple of days now.
Yeah.
I just care about who's wearing pinstripes. If one of them magically walks into Tampa, great.
Hey, great.
If not, don't care.
Well, don't care.
All right. First poll we ran, and we touched on this a lot in last week's episode. Who do you think will win the Yankees starting first baseman job? Did you look at any of the polls? Do you know how the fans voted?
I don't know. I looked at all the questions. I didn't necessarily go through what the fans voted because I didn't know if you were going to ask me.
I say
do know this one. It was overwhelming.
75% Voit.
It was overwhelming Voit.
Yeah, 72% Luke Voit. I mean, do you really want to touch on this too much?
Because we have. I think the fans are wrong. I could be way wrong. Unless Luke Voit completely overshadows Bird in a dramatic sense, I think the Yankees want Bird to be their starting first baseman. I think that they brought him here for a reason, and they still see that swing fitting perfectly at Yankee Stadium, and they want him to succeed. Or else he wouldn't be here.
I just think
they're paying him $1 million. I mean, it's not like a big detriment to the team.
No, but I'm saying he wouldn't still be here.
Where would he be? He's under team control. They're not paying him anything.
Would you listen to me for a second?
No, I don't want to.
What I'm saying is, after his performance last year and after all the injuries, if they didn't want him to succeed here right now, we wouldn't even be talking about Greg Bird right now.
But they don't really have a good answer.
But Luke Voit could at least be the end. But But we wouldn't be debating who's going to win the first base job, right? We would say it's definitely Voit, and it's his job to lose.
But wouldn't you want the first one to really get a crack at that, to be Luke Voit for what he did at the end of last season?
If we had lefties, yes.
Okay.
I want it to be Greg Bird.
I want it to be Greg Bird, and I ended up loving Luke Voit. How could you not?
I'm so done with Bird. It's Voigt's job to lose for me.
I want Bird to be that good, though. I'm not saying I want Bird to necessarily get a chance. I'm saying I want Bird to be the guy because he just makes more sense.
He totally makes more sense.
That's all I'm saying. I love Luke Voit. I love his energy. I love everything about him.
We gave Greg Bird the whole pump-up speech last week, and then he's in camp already.
Yeah.
So I do like that.
He heard us. He listens to the pod.
I do like that he showed up to camp early. And
so do I.
I really like that.
So do I.
It shows that he cares.
Yeah.
Because at times...
You question it.
You did question where his heart was.
And that's
his
really
name was the most surprising.
As a fan, that was the most frustrating part of his struggles, was that you questioned his fire, his passion.
Yeah, he didn't seem to have any.
All right, let's move off of first base. I'll see if one of you got anything else you want to say about the
No.
All right, let's talk about left field here. I'll skip around a little bit. Try to keep these in
somewhat chronological order.
Not chronological order because I'm skipping over things. Topical because I bounced around a little bit. Brett Gardner, a lot of fans were unhappy that he came back. A lot of fans are even more unhappy that it appears that he's going to be the starting left fielder this year. So I asked, how long does Brett Gardner last as a starting left fielder? Doesn't break camp as the left fielder, Memorial Day, the trade deadline, or he lasts the entire season?
Fans voted he lasts the entire season. They did it out of spite.
Memorial Day.
Actually, I guess Twitter counted down to the decimal point, but doesn't break camp was actually the one.
Oh, right.
Vote.
It tied, right?
It tied. They both had 29% of the vote, but I guess doesn't break camp might have had a decimal point advantage there.
I'll say it again, and it's something I am very confident in saying. The Yankees just need to see that Clint Frazier is not going to be affected by anything with the concussions. They need to see a few weeks out of him at a competitive level, that he is healthy, he is ready to move on, he is not feeling any symptoms, and at that point, I think they will make the call, and it will be his job to lose.
But you can make the same case that this is very similar to the Bird and Voit debate, because then if you take Gardner out of the lineup, you're taking a lefty out of the lineup.
Yeah, he's not a power
yes,
hitter,
but
he's a lefty.
If Brett Gardner was even just in his prime, even you don't want to call him, he would still be a lefty, yes, but Brett Gardner batted what, 220 last year? I mean,
wasn't good.
We're not talking about a guy who lefty,
ever,
righty, switch hitter, makes a big impact in this lineup anyway. So you want to throw
he does when he's
you want to throw Gardy
game
in there against a tough righty, fine. But this is Clint Frazier's.
Let me go back to
now.
something that I forgot to mention about Greg Bird here. You know, all the fans that I want to give Greg Bird another shot just based on the fact that he's a better defensive player.
Yes,
and he's a left-handed guy that you know, even if he plays to 75% of his potential, he'll hit 25 home runs this year. But the big thing is everybody goes back to the home run he hit off of Andrew Miller. How long are we going to hang our hat on that?
Right. It's you got to give me more than that.
Oh, Greg Bird hit a home run off of Andrew. Yeah, great. It won the game. It was a 1-0 game. It was
an incredible moment.
But, you know, how long are you going to pay for that? How long does he get to stick around?
No, and it has nothing to do with that anymore.
Gardner hit 236 last year, 264 in 2017.
A little better than I thought, but you saw him tired. No. You saw a guy that cannot play 140 plus games anymore.
That's been his MO in his entire career, where he fades in August.
And now with each year he gets older, it's becoming more and more, prominent that he cannot go more than 120 to 110 games.
All right, so let's ask the question now: who's more likely to take that spot from him, Clint Frazier or Jacoby Ellsbury?
I'll say it's all blue in the face. It's Clint Frazier.
93% of the fans voted that it would be Clint Frazier.
I think it's Ellsbury. Like I said on the one pod, if Ellsbury is healthy and on this roster and Gardner is replaced, it will be for Jacoby Ellsbury.
And you know what? 3 weeks ago, I still would have fought you on it.
I fight at you.
Just let him have it.
I still would have fought you on it, but I would have said you make a good point. But I feel like over the last couple weeks, the Yankees have been in talks with San Francisco. on getting him out of here. And then didn't a report come out recently that he might not even break camp with the team?
I heard that ESPN reported that as of today, or what was a few days ago, is that he still hadn't been medically cleared.
Right.
That doesn't mean that he won't be.
No, but
What I'm saying is, though, is that if he is on that roster, he could get traded. Yeah, he could be injured.
You're right.
But if he is on that roster,
I'm getting an ass tattoo, and he's going to replace Brett Gardner.
yeah, yep.
It's going to happen one after the other.
It doesn't excite me. Like, it would excite me for Clint Frazier to take over left field. It wouldn't excite me that Jacoby Ellsbury takes over left field.
Mm-hmm.
It was heartbreaking when you woke up and saw Andrew Miller was traded, right? It was like a knife going into you that you just knew all this was happening. Clint Frazier was one of the two big pieces of that trade.
He was the biggest piece.
This
right?
is his time for me to see him now, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if he's healthy, it better be Clint Frazier. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but again,
from a business perspective,
the Yankees still have options on him, and they have to do. I mean, if Jacoby Ellsbury's healthy, what are you going to do?
I
with
just
him?
think that if Clint Frazier is not a Major League Baseball player this year, he's just going to rot away somewhere.
And the guy's campaigning hard on social media that he's ready to play.
And you know,
and aside from with him and his goddamn nose ring taking pictures with his friggin' cat,
God.
he is like
Ellsbury.
No,
what's he? The next Greg Bird? Pictures with the cat.
But he's telling everybody that he's ready to go.
And you know what? People
Frazier.
are getting on his case, and they're like, Frazier's just a bunch of talk. The guy's been friggin' hurt, man. You should be happy he is
not even
vocal
like he broke
and confident.
his leg. Like concussions.
Right. You should be happy that this guy isn't sitting around and asking for pity. He's telling you that he's ready to take over left field. And you know what? Brett Gardner's probably the first person who wants to hear those things from a guy like him. That's why they brought Brett Gardner back.
You know why they brought Brett Gardner back?
So that he can still do
the Gardy report.
The Gardy report for us. I agree.
I don't know, bro. I want it to be Frazier. Logically, I think it'll be, if Ellsbury's healthy, it's going to be him.
Yeah.
If Brett Gardner is struggling, if Brett Gardner is struggling, the Yankees won't go out of their way to replace Ellsbury, replace Gardner with Ellsbury, like I think they would with Frazier. But if Gardy's like hitting 110 in, we're approaching May 1st, and Ellsbury's healthy, he's going to be the left fielder.
Where it stands now, I see Clint Frazier being the replacement. But you talk about all these ifs and big ifs. If Ellsbury's healthy, if Ellsbury isn't traded, if Ellsbury is on this roster,
Ellsbury's not getting traded,
then yes, Ellsbury will be the replacement. Will that be permanent? I sure as hell hope not, unless he's raking, or but
never know.
It will definitely happen.
Let's talk about Ellsbury getting traded. And it's not the Yankees have been in discussions with San Francisco. San Francisco has discussed acquiring Ellsbury, and they would be open to and the Yankees would be open to a quote bad contract swap for Ellsbury, not specifically with the Giants.
It would be a little unfair to the Yankees. The Giants would still have to eat some of that Cueto contract.
See, the guy that everybody and this has not been reported. This is not anything that's been substantiated. This is just speculation with people looking at the contract.
Right.
Is that they would think the best matchup would be Johnny Cueto
because we need depth.
Because of the money owed. But you got to think about it like this. You have 2 more years of Jacoby Ellsbury. The Giants have 3 more years of Johnny Cueto. Why are you adding on to that bad commitment if you're the Yankees?
Right. And you know what?
And you don't even get anything out of Cueto this year because he's missing he's missing all of 2019 with Tommy John surgery.
Right. And then he comes back. He's owed all this money. You don't know what kind of pitcher he is.
He's going to be 34 years old coming off of Tommy John surgery. That's a guy you want to commit $47 million to?
No. And then next year, you want to talk about replacing CC Sabathia. Who's going to be that guy? It should be Loizaga.
I don't want it to be Johnny Cueto.
Now you're going to be in the same spot that you are with Ellsbury, but with a pitcher who's on the decline, who just had Tommy John, and you're handcuffed to him now, where he's blocking guys like Loizaga, who, by the way, is our number 1 prospect now.
If you look at Johnny Cueto's numbers for his career, they're pretty damn good. But that's not a risk I'm taking at 34 years old with him coming off of Tommy John surgery. If the contracts were equal and they're both going to be free agents after 2020, do it. I don't care.
Right.
But I'm not taking another year of this guy.
No.
The guy that I would take take it on because he's a free agent after 2020 is Jeff Samardzija. Not that I'm expecting anything out of him, but it
makes more sense.
It makes more sense. And even the Yankees, I think Samardzija makes about $11 or $12 million less than Ellsbury. Even if the Yankees split the baby and sent some money over there,
fine.
I'd be fine with that.
Mark Melancon owed $28 million over the next 2 years.
Do it. That's
Giants.
fine. Yeah, but the Yankees. But then that's a much bigger gap because
it's all about the commitment.
The Yankees owe $44 million.
44 around there. Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's not a couple million. The Yankees would have to probably kick in like $15 million. So I probably wouldn't be okay with that.
I'm okay with Samardzija though. I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, as an insurance policy, as your sixth starter, stick him in the bullpen as your long guy, and then if you need somebody to make a couple starts when CC takes his vacations on the DL.
Pinstripe Bowl, Notre Dame.
Call him AJ Cole to demoralize him a few times throughout the season.
Notre Dame wide receiver.
Oh,
Samardzija.
You're right.
What's next on your poll?
Right.
I like these polls, Skip. I'm going to call you Skip.
But hold on, though. Are these scientific polls or what?
Actually, none of them are.
No, we had a lot of them.
What are we doing here, boys?
I kind of pumped them.
I thought we were doctors.
These are not scientific.
I get scientific polls on my personal account, not on the NYYST Sports account. I don't know what, but I did pump out a lot of them, so maybe some of them did get lost.
Maybe.
Were you saying something about somebody's name just a minute ago? No. So you mentioned it. I'm watching this documentary on Lucky Luciano because I just finished The Sopranos. So now usually when I finish The Sopranos, I get into the mob a little bit and I'll watch other stuff about the mob. So I've been watching this documentary on Lucky Luciano, and he got brought down by this madam that ran one of his whorehouses, and her name was Cokie Flo.
Cokie Flo.
Cokie Flo.
I like that.
Which has to be one of the all-time great names.
That's got to send up a red flag right away.
Cokie Flo.
Cokie Flo.
Cokie Flo. Speaking of documentaries, if you have time to DM me or something, Chris Jr. _NYYST, let me know if you watch the Ted Bundy tapes. Wasn't a fan, and I love documentaries. We talked about this.
Big documentary.
It was just all over the place for me, and I was so excited to watch it. It fell way short for me. I'd love to hear from anyone who watched it also.
All right, so what we heard from the fans is, will Troy Tulowitzki make it through spring training healthy and be the starting shortstop?
I think a lot of that plays into what the Yankees' plans are for
good questions
for the middle infield. It is a great question. Do I think he'll stay healthy? Yeah, it might be a false sense of confidence, but I have confidence that Troy Tulowitzki, call me crazy, will stay healthy this year, and he, if given the opportunity, will play a nice part on this team.
It was a close vote, but fans said 57% said that Troy Tulowitzki will make it through spring training healthy.
I don't know if he'll be the starting shortstop, though.
No, if he's healthy, he will be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You don't think maybe they would consider Torres at short?
I don't think they really want to move
I'm
Torres.
So
yeah,
torn.
And Cashman did say that.
I'm so torn because we've said it in the past. Cashman is adamant on the fact that they don't want to move him, but then you have DJ LeMahieu, who is a Gold Glove second baseman. Again, we're talking about a vulnerable defensive infield. Why do you want to then take DJ LeMahieu, move him to another position, and that you don't know how great he is, but you know how great he is at second base, so you're kind of torn. I don't really know the outcome.
I think LeMahieu's going to crack the starting lineup.
You do or you don't?
Yeah, I do. I think LeMahieu will be the second baseman, and Torres will be short.
I think LeMahieu is going to be a big piece to this team.
You guys, when we did our opening day lineups, none of you had Tulowitzki in your opening day lineup, except for our boy Brendan.
I don't think he's going to make it through spring training. I need to see it first.
Listen, when you have that little of a financial obligation to a player and this many good guys on a team, he's going to be the first to go. He's got to really wow the Yankees to make it through spring training. But here's what I'll say about DJ LeMahieu.
700 in spring training, and the Yankees would still. If Manny Machado's sitting out there March 15th,
yeah, that's different.
Oh no, yeah. If they sign Manny Machado,
you know what, Manny, we're gonna pass up. We got Tulo.
Yeah.
I think DJ LeMahieu is going to really show you his worth when the Yankees make the postseason. I think he is going to be that guy. A guy that we need in a postseason lineup.
I think the Yankees, DJ LeMahieu is going to show you his worth through 162 games this year.
He absolutely will. But what I'm saying is he's not going to be that much of an impact player, I don't think, offensively. until you get to the big games in October where he's the guy who isn't striking out, who's getting on in big situations.
I think you're going to see a lot of DJ LeMahieu this year. He's going to play probably 4 times a week.
I agree.
And I think he's gonna be
you
more
are going
impactful.
to like him.
He's going to be more impactful than you're saying that he's going to be.
I agree.
No, you're
he's a
not.
Career 298 hitter.
Maybe I'm not saying it the right way then. I'm not saying he's not going to be an impact on this team. I'm saying to you, you're not going to realize how much of an impact until we get to the postseason, knock wood. Hopefully, I'm just assuming here that we are. And guys like Stanton and Judge, or not Judge because he's unbelievable in the postseason, but guys like Stanton are striking out in big spots. And DJ LeMahieu's kind of breaking up that power hitter strikeout.
So now Giancarlo Stanton's going to blow in the postseason?
Oh, come on. I mean, I hope not. I'm just saying he's not that typical power hitter strikeout guy, and we need more of that in guys like him
All right,
in the
so
postseason.
let's segue into the next question here. So, which middle infield combination would you prefer the Yankees go with while Didi's out? LeMahieu at second, Gleyber at short, or Gleyber at second and Tulo at short?
No, my answer.
That's really tough. I think the way this team is best, I know they don't want to move Torres. I know they don't, but he's still a great shortstop. And maybe over time it could screw him up switching him back to shortstop again. But this team is best with him as the shortstop and DJ LeMahieu as the second baseman. It's best that way defensively, and it's best that way offensively.
How old is Gleyber Torres? 22?
22. Yeah.
The guy can play half a season at shortstop.
Yeah, but again, why do you? If his long-term plan is to be a second baseman, we'll just let him be a second baseman.
Yes, but if the team can be improved by you playing shortstop, then why not do that?
I understand that, but we saw a lot last year about how he was making errors because he wasn't comfortable at second base.
I agree with that.
And again, what is the Yankees' future at shortstop? Is Didi Gregorius getting an extension offer this year?
I don't know.
If not, then why is Manny Machado not on the team? Because then I think that just makes the whole world of sense here. Yeah. Unless at some point the Yankees do give in and just say Gleyber's natural position is short. We got a Gold Glove second baseman at DJ LeMahieu. Let's just go with that.
That could definitely happen. That could happen.
Well, the fans want it to be DJ and Gleyber. They voted 69% that way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. Regardless of the Yankees' intentions or what they necessarily want, I agree that makes this team best.
Because then, yeah, maybe the defensive Gleyber might be a liability, but you're also adding the defensive LeMahieu to complement
really,
it.
when you're talking about right now, Torres is more of a liability to me at second base.
You're right. Honestly,
shortstop is his natural position. The Yankees see it more of a liability over time where they don't think he has that range to be as good of a shortstop as he would be once he fits and settles into second base. But when you're talking right now, and we're in a right now mentality,
yeah,
Torres at short is actually less of a liability than Torres at second base. And then you're not just slotting in some Joe Schmo at second base.
Right.
You're slotting in a multiple Gold Glove second baseman.
Right.
And a guy who can hit.
Yeah.
I think if you're voting DJ and Gleyber, it's because you want the defense to be better. Is that the way I'm reading that?
I think it's both.
You think the team would be better offensively?
Yeah, because no one knows what Tulo is going to be offensively. They know what they're going to get out of Torres and DJ. They don't know what they're going to get out of Tulo. And they don't know what they're going to get out of Tulo defensively either, although all the reports say he hasn't lost a step.
Well, I think adding a Gold Glove caliber, or not caliber, he is a Gold Glover.
Yeah, he's
a Gold
multiple.
Glove second baseman kind of steadies the infield defense, which I think is a major weakness of this team.
And like I said, right now, Torres is still in our minds more of a liability at second than he is at short.
Is that the biggest weakness right now, you'd say?
Well, we'll get to that in a second.
All right.
So the next question is, since we're talking about defense, this directly ties into this here. So who concerns you the most defensively, Gary Sanchez or Miguel Andujar?
Oh, it's Miguel Andujar leaps and bounds for me. And that's not to say that I'm not confident he's worked his ass off and is going to shock us all and be a great defensive third baseman this year.
Can you say that again?
Which player concerns you the most defensively, Andujar or Sanchez?
Mine has to be Sanchez in terms of concerns me, because this is a guy that just every single night is going to have to catch some really good pitching, and that is not an easy position to improve on.
Well, the fans
look at the arms. Look at the arms that he has to catch this year.
The fans think it's going to be Sanchez.
You guys see that?
62%.
Really?
That they are more concerned about Gary Sanchez.
Well, here's why.
Because of pass ball?
Because
a catcher
because of the
handles
exact
more
reason that Ryan just said. It's every single pitch, every single night,
Right.
in and out. So he's the one that's talked about the most. But I go back to one thing and one thing only, and that's the postseason. Sanchez was a brick wall back there, whereas Andujar
He really was. And nobody's giving him credit that he was really good.
Really not.
I mean, it was only 5 games, but still, you did not see any of that.
And let me ask you this:
came around.
who was a better offensive player last year, Gary Sanchez or Miguel Andujar?
Miguel Andujar?
Okay, who was the one?
Is it 5 games or 4 games?
5 games.
5.
They played the wild card game and then they lost.
Oh, all right. You're including the wild
All
card.
right,
My bad.
So let me ask this again: who was the better offensive player, Sanchez or Andujar?
Andujar.
Who was the one that the Yankees sacrificed because they were more concerned with defensively in the postseason, Sanchez or Andujar?
Also, to your point, though, Sanchez was hot in the postseason and Andujar was not.
Okay, but even if he was, I still think their big concern.
Most likely, but I think it was going to be a much tougher decision.
I understand if you had to play devil's advocate, that would be the way to go. But my point is, really, at the end of the day, who was the bigger liability? So in my mind, Miguel Andujar needs to be much, much, much better at third base because Gary Sanchez, yeah, he might have trouble blocking balls, but no one's running on Gary Sanchez when he does. And he brings a lot more to the table defensively than Miguel Andujar does right now.
So Miguel Andujar, they were at Mohegan Sun yesterday, I believe, the Michael K show, and they had a bunch of Yankees and Red Sox on there for some charity dinner that they were doing.
Did you see what Sevy had on?
Oh my God, sharp.
Didn't see.
But Miguel Andujar was on, and I don't understand a lot of Spanish. I understand some.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either Kay or LaGreca asked Andujar how he's going to get better defensively. And you know what he said? Trabajo mucho, which was the greatest answer he could have possibly given. Work a lot.
Yep. And what's he been doing?
Working.
That's all we've seen. So, again, I'm basing my answer of this poll off of last season. I am not in any way saying that Miguel Andujar isn't going to show up and be a Gold Glove caliber third baseman. It could happen. He obviously has the skill set. He has the skill set to be a great third baseman. He does have range. He does have a phenomenal arm. It was a matter of him second guessing himself. It was a matter of him being scared of the ball where every time a hard ball was hit there, you'd hold your breath because he'd back up. He'd let the ball eat him up.
That one game against Boston this year?
Oh, he cost
Chapman
him the
on the
game.
mound. Oh, I hated that game. I think that was my least favorite game.
To bring that up?
Because it's been bothering me.
That was a sweep game. They should have won that game.
Oh,
they were up like 4 runs.
And you're just sitting there going, is this really happening right now?
Yeah.
Hold your breath, and then it happens.
Everybody's going to blame Andujar. They should have made the play. They should have blamed Bird. They should have made the pick. But, again, we were going through one of those games where Aroldis Chapman didn't know where the hell home plate was.
Right.
Oof.
Let's get off the polls for a quick second here. Did you hear Hal Steinbrenner clap back a little bit about the...
I kind of did. I didn't read it fully, but what did he exactly say?
I'm glad that he took a shot at these Jagoffs over here. There was an owners meeting during the week, and somebody caught up to Hal, and Hal didn't exactly appreciate being called cheap.
Wow. And what did he say?
He said, I don't understand how I'm being called cheap when my payroll is at $200 million. In fact, it's at $220 million right now, and it's significantly higher than it was last year. So how am I being cheap?
How many teams are spending more money than the New York Yankees right now?
I think the Yankees are
second
or third.
Yeah,
I believe they moved
Phillies and Mets, maybe.
I believe they're moved up to second. They could be third, though.
There's two different.
Definitely the Phillies.
It's either free agent contract signed or payroll added in the offseason.
Either way, it means that there's 27 or 28 other teams spending less money than Hal Steinbrenner. But let's not waste our precious.
But I'm glad that Hal said that.
Oh, me too. I love it.
One of those guys, or two of those guys that the Yankees are spending money on now this year are Hap and Zach Oh, it's Zach with a K now.
Zach with a
Yeah.
K. I thought he was
Why'd
going
he
to
do
change it
that?
to Sack.
His legal name is apparently Z-A-C-K.
Oh,
Zachary,
okay.
Z-A-C-K.
Then why was he going? What, did someone misspell it or something, and he never corrected
I have
them?
no idea in the fucking world.
Yeah, seriously. Because it's normally Zachary. If Zachary spelled Z-A-C-H, even they change it to the K. But he was someone with the K already.
But I wonder if my Zach Britton autograph is worth more now that it's when he
definitely.
signed
Wow.
it. When he signed it, it
Definitely.
was
Yeah, 'cause he's gonna have to
Z-A-C-H.
change his autograph.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe that's why he was going H, because H is an easier cursive than
It
a
is.
K.
It is.
Well, somebody
He's gonna
they were
regret it.
joking that as a pitcher, K is better because H
Right.
means hit and K means strikeout.
Yeah, maybe that's
That's a good one.
All right, so let's start with this one real quick. We threw out our predictions maybe a few pods ago, but I asked the fans, what do you think Luis Severino's ERA will be in 2019? 199 or lower, in the 2s, in the 3s, or 4 or higher?
I think I said in the 3s.
I know the fans voted in the 2s.
Yeah, it was 60%. They think it'll sit somewhere between 2.0 and 2.99.
And I'll say this.
And who's the 3% of these dumbasses that really think he's going to pitch to a higher than 4 ERA this year? You
And
really think you have that little faith in Luis Severino? Right
I'll
now?
say this.
Come on, seriously.
I'll say this. I don't necessarily know if I have an educated guess on where his ERA will stand. I'll just say that it better be in the 2s. It better be.
I think you were above 3 when we predicted. I was the one that was.
I think
in
I was
the
3.28,
which
around
isn't
there.
good enough for me.
No, it's absolutely not.
And the reason why I threw out this poll was not to. I didn't want to ask if you think Luis Severino is the Yankees ace. I wanted to gauge what the fans thought of him.
And you know what? I liked the answers because it showed me that there's still a lot of people that have faith in this guy, and they should. They should.
I think the 11% that think he's going to pitch to a sub-2 ERA needs to lay off the peyote a little bit.
Yeah.
But
you never know.
But the people that voted 4 or higher, put down the crank.
If he didn't fall off,
Like,
even if he didn't fall off just a little, like he plummeted last year.
no,
he had the highest ERA in
He
the
could have
second
very
half at one point.
easily broken a 2 ERA last year.
he would have broken a 2 ERA.
right.
He
So
was
don't-
under.
so it's
he was
not-
under 2 in June.
So it's not unrealistic.
Yeah, he was at like 198, 2 starts before the All-Star break.
I will say it one last time. It better be in the 2s.
yeah,
or else
it needs
it
to be.
has to be.
Or
in
else
twos.
the Yankees will have to go out and get themselves a bona fide ace because this is it. for
They'll
me.
have to.
Yeah.
They can live without it.
Sevy's a great
Without
number
Nate,
2
another
then
ace.
at that point, obviously.
Yeah.
But you need an ace. You need a guy who's going to go out there and
Unless
pitch.
someone else in the rotation steps up.
Well, that's what we're
Yeah.
going to ask right now.
Cool.
If Sevy's your number 1, who's your number 2? Paxton, Tanaka, or Happ?
K-Pax.
Paxton, 100%.
58% of the fans went with Paxton.
Yeah.
Then Tanaka.
Tanaka with 33 and 9% for Happers.
I think Tanaka's going to bounce back and have another really good year. He had a
Again,
good season last
Oh,
year.
ho
I
hum.
don't care about how he pitches in the regular
No,
season
I do.
anymore.
He can't pitch like he pitched in
Yeah,
2017.
for me, he can.
For me, he can too, but I don't want him to.
No, he cannot
I'd
have
rather
a near.
he didn't.
He can't be having a 5 ERA through most of the season. He can't do
But
it.
they'll
I
still
don't
make
care.
the postseason.
As long as they
and
make
when
the
they do make the
postseason.
postseason, he
You wanna win the
is lights
division
out.
this year?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
they have
so
to.
you're right.
If they don't win the division because of Tanaka, then I'll
Yeah.
start to,
But you need to be 3 deep where you're winning the majority of your games when Paxton, Tanaka, and Severino are pitching.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're not 3 deep, then you better have a great bullpen, and the Yankees do,
If
right?
you can get those 3 to really just maximize their potential,
Oh my God.
and then you have at the bottom of the order, at the bottom of the rotation,
2 lefties.
whether it be Tanaka, Happ, and then CC getting you 10 to 15 wins each, that's just an incredible rotation.
I think, and I've said this before, I think Cashman's thinking of acquiring Paxton was that he was going to be a 1B.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so, but
I think at worst he saw him as a 2. I don't think he acquired him thinking he was going to be a 3 or 4. I
No.
think he thinks he's going to be a 1B 2, whatever you want to say.
they don't need, I'll say it again. We fought over it. They don't need him to be an ace if Luis Severino is going to pitch to a 2-something ERA this year. They do need him to be a solid number 2.
Out of all the new acquisitions this year, who are you guys most excited to see? For me, it's Paxton.
I'm definitely Paxton or Ottavino.
Ottavino.
Are you counting guys like Britton and Happ, or are they considered new acquisitions?
Yeah, throw him in there.
Because then
for
I
a
would
full season,
full
yeah.
year.
for a
It's a full
full
year.
season of a healthy Britain, I still think that would.
Oh, Britain is going to shut everyone up who is doubting him in any way.
I'm doubting him, so
this
I
year.
hope he does.
He is going to shut you up when you see how this guy can pitch healthy.
Oh, I can't. I hope so.
This bullpen.
He throws that friggin'
I know
bowling
last
ball.
year this bullpen was kind of disappointing
Nasty.
because it was talked up a lot. But man, this bullpen right now is beyond scary. Beyond.
Yeah, I can't imagine having a.
So you would say that you are not concerned about the Yankees bullpen?
No. I'm guessing that's the next
90%.
poll.
Our last poll question is: what area of the Yankees concerns you the most right now? Offense, starting pitching, bullpen, or defense?
Mine. Yeah, you could go. You go.
defense. I think that's the biggest weakness is the infield.
And
even the outfield too, because if Stanton's going to play out there every so often, he's not probably going to play in right a lot. Gardner's great, but
I don't
know.
worry about the Yankees defensively in the outfield. I think especially if Guardy's going to play left field, they have a phenomenal
you're
defensive
right.
outfield.
I
don't even like Aaron Hicks that
am
much.
going to be the odd man out probably of everyone on this poll, and I'm going to say the offense. And not in a sense of it worrying me that I don't think this team could win 100-plus games anymore. I think this offense is scary, but it does concern me a bit because we've seen these guys when they're on, and they are phenomenal. But we've seen them when they're off, and it all's like a domino effect. When one guy's off at the top, the rest of them keep striking out. It becomes tough to watch, and I think the Yankees need to break out of that this year. I'm most concerned with the offense. I think defensively, we don't know where all the pieces are going to fit just yet. But when they do, I actually think we have a very good defensive team right now.
Well, the fans voted 56% for the starting pitching, 31% for defense, 11% for offense, and I guess 2 people thought they were being funny and voted for the bullpen.
Well,
No, you never know. I mean, you could.
Actually,
those are spiteful Red Sox fans.
Actually, it's probably closer to 13 people that voted for the bullpen.
Yeah, it's definitely not my biggest concern right now.
I think that would be
Going
the thing
into
that
the
you would be
season?
least concerned about is this bullpen.
Absolutely.
So
the starting rotation doesn't worry me at all either.
Me neither.
I guess the only worries you can have are health, but that's any rotation.
Honestly, I'm not even worried about their defense. I just think if I had to pick one aspect of their game,
defense.
it would be
for
defense.
Me, if I had to pick one out of the 4 areas, it would be defensively because I don't think they're good at all defensively in the infield.
No.
I don't feel that way at all.
you're not going to feel.
Especially if Luke Voigt is playing first base. That's terrible defensive infield.
I think Luke Voigt will be just fine over at first base. I think he's not going to be a guy
The guy's
who
built like the Incredible Hulk. When's the last time you saw the Hulk scoop a ball out of the
how's
dirt?
he going to get his glove all the way
think he'll
down?
be okay.
The guy's built like a...
I don't think first base defensively should worry
Google the Warlord, the WWF 80s wrestler, the Warlord. That's what Luke Voigt looks like, okay? Except for
wouldn't
the
be concerned.
wacky goatee that the Warlord had.
you. I wouldn't be concerned.
That guy can't pick balls out of first base.
You don't know that.
Nah,
You've never seen him pick a ball. Oh my God, that is Luke Voigt.
That's his new
That
nickname.
guy I just pulled up. What's this guy's name? The Warlord?
the Warlord. That's Luke Voigt, bro.
Oh, we got to do something with this. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
him.
That's Luke Voigt.
That's Voigt.
That guy can't. That
I
guy's
didn't
gonna
know
pick.
Luke Voigt was a WWE wrestler.
That guy's gonna pick first base, ball out of the dirt in first base. I don't think so. But yeah, defensively, I guess that would be my main area of concern. But
The corners.
infield wise, outfield, I think we're.
Yeah, you're right.
We're superb. I don't
that
worry about Gary. Really, I don't.
No.
I don't worry. I think again, like it's not to the degree that this is Bird. Like we say, it's Bird's last chance. It's not Gary's last chance. But this is a year that Gary Sanchez is going to show you something, or he's going to put it all together. I think.
Same with Sevy. One last thing I want to say. We're done with the polls and everything. Do you have anything else?
No, I was
going to
say with the I understand. I don't really fully understand the fans' point of view, but I think I can understand. I'm going to say I understand after I said I didn't understand, but I think the reason why they voted for starting pitching is because in their mind the Yankees didn't get a sexy name this offseason.
Even though they really got the sexiest name that was traded this offseason.
Some of them are down on Luis Severino. Some of them don't think Masahiro Tanaka is any good. Some of them have no respect for Hap. Some of them think CC belongs in a hospital bed. and they don't respect what James Paxton. They don't get no respect. They don't get no respect. If you took out Paxton and put in Corbin, you think the fans would have voted differently?
Yeah. And you know what?
Because of the name.
I would actually be more pissed off.
Yeah,
I would actually have more concern.
Me too.
I really would.
100% I would.
You were sold on Patrick Corbin being the sexiest name in the free agent market.
He was.
I'm saying you were sold on that.
Right. Oh, everyone, yeah.
And the Yankees didn't get him.
It's the name.
Right.
But I think Paxton's probably a better pitcher than Patrick Corbin.
Agree.
I think
he's got
a better fit. He's got
to stay healthy, obviously. But I think for the Yankees, Paxton is going to be a better pitcher than Corbin's going to.
And I think he's shown his mentality and that he's a guy who can
The guy fought an eagle, for Christ's sake.
He could be very successful in the Bronx. I want to leave, if we're wrapping up, I'd like to leave the listeners with one thought.
Okay.
How many games did the New York Yankees win last year?
That would be 100.
Okay, let's just. I know they failed in the postseason. They won 100 games. They had a rookie manager. They had an ace who completely fell off the face of the earth. They had zero production at first base until the end of the year with Luke Voit. They had a guy at third who had a breakthrough rookie season, but they held their breath every time a ball was hit to him. They got nothing out of Gary Sanchez. Aaron Judge missed 6 weeks of the season. Brett Gardner also fell off the face of the earth. Chapman was hurt.
Montgomery went down.
Britton really wasn't the same guy. Montgomery went down.
Didi spent a lot of time on a DL and didn't even exist in May.
CeCe was hurt on and off. This team won 100 games that way. And they didn't get a full Giancarlo Stanton like he normally puts up.
Gleyber Torres was never the same after that injury.
Gleyber Torres. The list goes on. And this team found a way to win 100 games. And they are coming back better, stronger. And if they can stay healthy and improve upon the talent that they already had, this team is going to be unstoppable in 2019. I'm telling you right now. Think about that. Think of all the holes last year.
But we don't have Harper. We don't have Machado.
Think about it.
Nah, you hit the nail on the head, man.
No, I know I did. We don't have those guys. We can't win. We can't win without them.
100 games.
Yeah.
And now this team is better, stronger,
Chris,
and scarier.
They suck, bro. They don't have Manny Machado.
Telling you right
They're
now.
Terrible.
I'm telling you right now.
Terrible.
This team will be the team to beat in 2019.
Those first 3 weeks of the season, though, are going to be
crucial.
Very important. They need to start at least 14-7.
This team needs to be 20 games over 500 by Memorial Day, and they should be with that schedule.
They should be.
You look at the schedule and you totally
if they're
think they
serious this year,
yes.
If they're for real about winning a World Series, they should be 20 games over 500 minimum by Memorial Day.
I agree.
And that schedule is so conducive for them to do that.
Put it in the books. Let's do it.
Don't say that. That's a Mets thing.
All right.
Ew.
I didn't know that.
Let's put it on the board.
Yeah,
put it on the board. Oh, yes.
You know, he announced Yankee games before he...
oh, yeah?
Yeah, he did.
He's retired now, right?
Good.
Did he?
The White Sox?
Yes.
Did he retire?
Did he maybe?
Somebody retired. And
Vin Scully, maybe?
They're regretting it.
Vin Scully?
No. I think
Please don't ever put them in the same category if that's who you were thinking of.
Next week.
That's 100% not who I was thinking of.
See, now because...
What's the guy's name who did the White Sox?
Hulk Harrelson. Because next week...
Episode 100.
But because our luck that we'll plan this whole big episode for Sunday, that Manny Machado will sign with the Yankees on Wednesday, and we'll have to do episode
100. No, we shouldn't cater to him, man. Screw him.
We have to.
I know.
So thank you for listening to episode 99.
Number 99.
Of the NYY Sports Talk podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. The season is getting ready to start. You'll listen Monday morning.
The season is upon us.
2 more days, and it'll officially begun. The chase for 28, and hopefully next year when we sit down and record our spring training preview, we won't have to say the chase for 28.
Right.
Looking fine for 29.
Fine for 29.
Thank you for listening. Stat Guy Rye.
Go Yanks.
Chris. Say goodbye.
Peace.